Okay. All right, gents. Everyone's welcome to chime in on stuff, but I wanted to talk about about the cover circuit, and the original versus cover, and how we all entered this the circuit because in the 90s when I first got to Denver, it's like, okay, let's go catch some live music and, go to Whiskey Bill's, go to X, go to TNR's, go to Isla Park, and it's all cover bands. If I wanted to do anything original or anything different, I didn't know that weekday nights were the only way to go. So in my mind, I'm like, well, it's just all cover bands. Brian, I'm going to start with you. How did Wish Doctor get started that way?
Um, I don't know if you guys remember a band called Razzle Dazzle.
Right.
They were an original band out of Fort Collins. Steve Stuntz, who is with Guild of Ages now, and their bass player Grant Richmond had they they had hooked up with this guy named Bobby Barth. He was played in Blackfoot, um, the band Axe, Rose Tattoo. He had moved to Denver and was looking to represent bands. And Bobby's theory behind it was if you want to be a decent original band, you got to go out there and cut your teeth.
Mhm.
So he sent us all out there doing covers. We went on the road for months and months at a time and played these shithole bars all over the United States. And we kind of cut our teeth that way. Made you more cohesive as a band. It's
Mhm.
like sending some soldiers out, in battle. So that's the way we got into it. I think originally we wanted to be original bands, because
Mhm.
that's where we came from. But it wasn't. I guess it wasn't really that easy. Plus those guys weren't going to make any money off of us unless we were playing covers.
Right.
So yeah, so they kind of plugged us into the cover scene, and we were doing Tuesday night through Sunday night. Whiskey Bills,
Mhm.
Wednesday through Sunday at ILIF, and then we just started going on the road and hitting these clubs out there that would take cover bands. And
Right.
eventually, we cut albums. But yeah, that was the thing. They said if you guys want to do this, we need to kind of put you through the ringer. Make sure that you're going to be a cohesive unit. And we wound up going through a couple of members till we wound up with Troy and Alex,
Mhm.
and that was the cohesive unit that we ended up with.
Right.
So short story long for you. So that's kind of how we ended up doing that.
Right. Okay. I remember the first two bands I, kind of like personally met was Vendetta with Ty Longley, the late great Ty Longley, and you guys, it was at Whiskey Bills. You did the Tuesday through Saturday thing, and I was understanding that was like $200 a night at the most. Is that true?
Let me think. It was yeah, it wasn't very much.
Right.
I believe that Tuesday. Well, it was Tuesday through Sunday. Locally, since we didn't have to go anywhere, they would give us shit. I think it was probably even 1,800 for the week. So it was pretty far. We were scrounging by at that time,
Right.
and that was a lot based. Well, the music scene had taken a dive since like the
Hmm.
Bengals. Those guys were
Right.
making killer money. Well, when the '90s came around, when we started doing the circuit, nobody wanted to pay anymore because all these bands were going in and playing for free.
Yep.
Right.
So when a band that came in wanted to look and make some money, they're like, "Well, I can get Joe Schmo over here to play for nothing."
Sure.
So yeah, it was kind of a challenge then.
Right. Now, that rolls into my next thing is just that, as the 2000s started coming around a little bit, you guys started growing a following. Russia started growing a bit, started
Wow.
Russia started
Wow, there's a
building
name I haven't
in
heard for a
in
while.
my favorite cover band, Itis.
Yeah, I love Itis 420 exit
Yeah.
420, my
Hey,
man.
John, Itis was different than anybody else. Well,
Yeah, they
what'd you
were.
think?
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah, they were way ahead of
Yeah,
Mike is the best,
Yep.
dude.
For
right.
sure.
And and I noticed this at X because whenever Russia, Witch Doctor, and Itis, it was just packed. And good business model and other whatnots. But it's like, but Brian, I got to ask a question. Even though the money got better, didn't you get bored?
Yeah, I think I got sober.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Here, here.
it was always an exciting time when I was drinking, and the parties were always there, and that's kind of what kept me going was just kind of the social aspect of it. But I mean, eventually, when you're sitting there on a Tuesday night and there's four people out there, you start thinking of stupid shit to do to entertain.
Right. Now, this leads me to the next thing because Matt Waitley, and I don't have anything negative to say about him, but in my experiences with him, he never smiled. I'm like, "Hi, Matt, how you doing?" "Oh, I'm okay." "Oh, hi, hi." And one time he was at Isle of Park Saloon in the early 2000s during the daytime. He was just drinking, just other whatnots. And I'm like, "Hi, Matt, how you doing?" And I just started talking to somebody. He's like, "I don't want to talk about work." Did this turn into a
Yeah.
job, Brian?
What's up?
Did this turn into a job?
Um, yeah, and I got to say, it's still kind of a job, but it was I think at that time he might have been working too. So, um,
Right.
but
Now,
yeah, I mean, eventually it was. We were doing it quite a bit. We were, all week long, and then plus the traveling part of it made it kind of a job as well.
right. Now, Witch Doctor was one of the few cover bands that I was of the understanding you had your own agent,
Yeah, yeah, we had an agent in management as well.
and they took how much out of you?
Oh, geez. I think that the maximum that we had to pay was 18%,
Right,
and then they would split commissions with whatever booking agents were on the road. So
right.
that was,
Okay, okay.
yeah.
Now,
So they ended up eating it.
my
Go ahead.
last big Witch Doctor question is this because you know, you guys had original music that you kind of sprinkled in, sprinkled in as time went by. As I saw you guys,
Great fucking
did
album.
did any club say you couldn't do that?
I would say that the only places that did that were probably in the Northwest. And
Right,
we by the second set we couldn't remember what they told us anyway, so we played it
right,
anyway. So,
true. Let's roll. Let's roll into the next part about Isle of Park Saloon. That's where Paragon cut their teeth, and we're all familiar.
Yes.
Isle of Park Saloon doing originals on Mondays and Tuesday nights, and and doing covers on the weekends, and trying to convert fans to come to the weekends to come on the weekday gigs. Jim, I know that's something you did, right?
Oh God, yeah. Oh, so much funny. We had our very first show there with Moore, and we had these giant posters that we made on a at Kinko's, and we did it actually. We made these huge ass posters on a what do you call it, a blueprint machine. Actually, it's supposed to make blueprints, but we made our posters. And I remember Danny Martinez was with this band was like pumping us because they thought we were a national act. And he came to the show and he's like, "Oh, fucker, it's just you. I thought you were a national act," but it was sold out and it was such a great show. And Isla Park, yeah, we did Tuesdays there all the time. And we played there so much it became our home bar because we just kept selling out all the time. And it
Right,
got so much that they were giving us 10% of the bar sales as well. So that was awesome.
right.
Sorry.
Okay. We're gonna roll. John, Matt, it's your turn. Um, but when one night in Golden, Colorado, apartment complex I was living with, I heard Phantom of the Opera being played on a guitar. Ended up being Keith Sprago. He's like, "I'm in a band. Come see us." Then I meet Matt. I meet John, and they're doing their thing, and I end up like, "Okay, I'll help you guys out." And I remember seeing an ad for Island Park Saloon saying new band night Monday nights. So I call. I'm like, hey, I've got a band. We're gonna do that. So okay, we've got January 21st open. Okay, we'll take it. Okay, it's yours. Then all of a sudden, Paragon gets its first gig, and other whatnots. But Paragon's attitude was what I fell in love with. Paragon wanted to play all the stuff the other cover bands didn't. Remember that, guys?
Oh hell
Yeah,
yeah.
we wanted to come out and hit you in the face right away and just hit you with
Right.
bang.
Right. Now that led me to think that it's just kind of like, okay, we thought we were filling a need because cover bands had to kind of keep the crowd, dancing and whatnots, and Paragon just wanted to kick everyone's ass.
Well, I mean, we did have a few of the mainstream ones that all the cover bands covered too. We covered Tracker Man and stuff like that to,
Right.
at least, get the girls dancing. But I mean, yeah,
Right.
more often than not, we were jamming out the Slayer songs that nobody else was playing, the Pantera
Right.
songs no one else was playing,
Right.
fucking
Yeah.
Sepultura. We
Right.
gave
I
no
was
shits.
definitely in thrash mode back then.
Yep.
Right. Now, okay, I remember now, John, I remember fondly you knew some Tommy Bolin stuff that you tried getting into
Yeah,
the
my old
mix.
man used to hang out with Tommy Bolin.
Right. I remember that. I just remember you being an
Yeah,
encyclopedia. You're just
yes,
like, I
yes,
knew that,
definitely.
I knew that, I knew that, I knew that.
No, he still is.
Try to be anyways.
I know.
But I do want to, there's one club that didn't really hasn't gotten talked about in this archive that I beloved, it's so beloved, T&R's. Who
TNR's was
played
my
there
favorite place.
other than
He treated
Paragon?
us so good.
All of
Oh,
us.
all right.
As a matter
John,
of
you're
fact,
gonna like this.
I played with Moore at TNR's and we sold that bastard out and we ended up doing what was it, 3 more nights?
I think so, yeah.
All
Yep,
right, tell me
yep.
more about that.
So
I played with my second band after that. We went under the moniker 440 Hertz, and we had a female singer, and my cousin was the bass player, and our former drummer slash guitar player slash bass player was the guitar player for that band, Bruce Knight, Mr. Bruce Knight,
Right.
the man of many talents.
but yeah, the Moore gig and Dan and Jim chime in whenever, but I basically get a phone call. I had just signed on with Silencer and Danny calls me and he's like, "We're in a pickle." I was like, "What's the matter?" He's like, "Well, fucking our guitars quit and we have shows. We have our Halloween show and we have a couple of this, that, and the other thing, then a TNRs and whatever." And I'm like, "Okay, I've never played any of y'all's shit." He's like, Jim was like, "I have CDs." I'm like, "I have drugs. All right, I'm going to stay up for 3 days because I literally had 72 hours to learn all of their shit." And so,
To learn all of our stuff, but she also picked up because we always wanted to do a cover of a immigrant song. And the reason is because the whole band started because Danny, uh, bass player Danny, sorry, Dan, because he moved out here from California. We worked together at the hospital, and he gave me this cassette tape. We're sitting around. He goes, "So, what do you think about this music? What do you think about this singer?" And I go, "So, I listened to their cassette tape from California. It was him and his brother's band." And I go, "You think he could sing better than this guy?" And I go, "My worst day with a cold." He goes, "Well, that's me." I'm like, "Same deal." But he came to we went to a karaoke night with George when George was working at that bar, Pitchers in Aurora.
Oh
And so
wow!
George got me up and I did Immigrant Song. And Danny's like, "Oh my God, we have to start a band." So we wanted to do Immigrant Song all the time, but Robert absolutely refused. Robert's a guitar player that quit and you filled in for because he quit about 5 times and came back, quit, came back. I love Robert, but he was a bit flaky at times. But anyway, so we did a Immigrant Song that night at ILIF. I think it was Halloween. And
it
Robert's at the
was.
audience. So
Remember, Robert was telling
it was
Matt,
kind of a finger.
he was what was telling that, Matt, Dan? he's like, want me to show you how to play that?
Hey
That's
guys,
right.
I got to sign off. So thanks for having me
All right.
on.
Brian,
And
thanks for taking part, bud. Appreciate you.
Well,
Love you,
Thank
brother.
you.
love you.
Thank you, Brian.
So yeah, so we do the first show. Here's the new guy and more temporarily anyway, and And Jim, the first practice we did, Jim's jaw is on the floor because all of a sudden I took what was already a very heavy band and I added the classic Mat Bolten shred to it, and Jim was just like. So then he was like, "Can you do Immigrant Song?" I was like, "Let's fucking roll it out." So we practiced it out, and then we did the show. And yeah, so the show ends, and we killed it. I mean, the place was packed and absolutely insane. And Robert comes up to me, he's like, "Dude, pretty good chops, man. Do you want me to show you how to play it?" And looked at him, I was like, "I think I did just fine on my own, buddy. So thanks." And so I ended up doing 5 or 6 more shows with Moore, just kind of finishing that. We did one show scheduled for TNRs, and I can't remember the owner's name.
Ron.
And Ron was just like, "Do you guys want to do 2 more nights?" And we were like, "Fuck it, yeah, let's do it."
Mm-hmm. That rolls my next thing. There was one Paragon rehearsal, and I think John or Matt may not remember it, but I do. You guys learned Led Zeppelin's Rock and Roll, like on the fly. John just remembered John the encyclopedia he's like, okay, this is what John does. He started the beat, and everybody's like, okay, it's just it's G to A. That's about it. That's pretty much it.
Yep.
You know, dun dun dun. Is I was guilty of thinking all this music must be so hard. And I remember just through the cover circuit and through, going through experience, it's like this music really isn't that hard for the most part. Could anybody concur with that, or do you disagree?
Yeah, it's a mixed bag with me. Matt was just such an outstanding guitar player when I first met him. I mean, he could play everything from the Eagles on up to, I mean, when he played Halloween, it blew my fucking mind because nobody fucking played any of that stuff, man. So, and I come from a progressive cut as well. I get into the heavy metal progressive style as well, and he could do that, but then he was so simplistic. I don't know. That's what I liked about it. There was just so many different flavors in the band.
Right. Right. Oh,
yeah, it just
also,
kind of depended. It depended on the song. Some of them were, like the Halloween stuff. I mean, I'd have to sit down for a few hours and kind of chop that out. And other ones just kind of like when we learned rock and roll, it's 12-bar blues from beginning to end. So I mean, you can kind of fudge your way through it.
Right.
Well, I can play the fastest shit out there, but come to War Pigs, I have a hell of a time slowing down and playing the thing. That's why I hate that song so much. Not because I played it so many times, it's just trying to slow down with that, with that single bass pedal.
And we got Mark from Vendetta over there as well joining us, and I think he'll attest that War Pigs is just such a joy for guitar players to play too.
Oh, absolutely. It's hard though. It's like any song, if you're used to going balls to the wall, excuse my expression, it's hard to get used to a slow groove sometimes, a slower groove. You know what I mean?
Yes, it is.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, it's weird. I'm like more of I was the cover guy. You guys are all original stuff always, huh?
Oh no, Paragon was covered with a few originals. Wish Doctor was covered with an original album. More was originals with a couple of covers.
Yeah, we go back a little bit further back to, well, God, it's been late 80s, early 90s through 90s, everywhere from, well, TNRs, of course. But yeah, Vendetta, them a shorter period than I was with the original AKA, which started with some other players that you guys probably know before I got there. But and what were we talking about?
Okay.
Let's
stick with Mark here.
I can't hear you. Hang on.
Talk over you. I know some bands way back from the Bangles days, like Mark, Jeff Defner, and the Dogs of Pleasure. Man, those guys just would shake the roof off the place. God,
the first time I saw Death and Taxes.
Last name, Matt?
Which one?
Gino, what was his last name? What band was he in? He was in Aces High, and he came from oh God, I can't remember what it was. I'm as drug addled as I was back then, I'm surprised I can remember half the people that I do. And man, it goes back pretty extensively.
Oh shit,
man.
Yeah, man. Some of my best memories might not even be mine.
From there to the 6th Avenue Diamond Cabaret to after the Gold Rush.
Oh my
the
God.
London pub.
Right.
My mom owned the bar, so we knew all the other bar owners and stuff in town. So that's
Gold
why
Rush was fun.
I have such an extensive knowledge of the clubs and stuff. But yeah, man, I love it, man. It's good to see you fellas.
Yeah.
You know,
All right, Mr. Powell,
hi.
Vendetta. I spent New Year's Eve 1995 at Whiskey Bill's with you guys.
Yeah.
And I remember the late great Ty Longley was with
Uh,
you.
yeah,
And-
I replaced him. That was the year. Unbelievable.
right.
Because he went to Great White. Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
So you were
I
there.
remember I remember that night well because one, I was the designated driver for a group of people, so I didn't have a drop. And number two,
No,
he had a
you
shirt that
remember
said,
very well.
"Hi, I really don't like cops."
Right. Yeah,
You
I think
know,
we were probably doing some trading off that night, from what I remember. If that's the night we're
Right.
talking about.
right?
Yeah.
And, the night I remember that night also because the Whiskey Bill sound man Blake always
Yep.
dressed the same way. He had a button-down
Yep.
shirt. He would
Yep.
dress in pants dress in jeans that was 2 sizes too small, and
He
wear
brought
cowboy
disco
boots.
to rock and roll.
Right. Then, furthermore,
Guys,
Blake that night on an occasion, it happened more than once. He would get up and be a guest singer, and he did Rage Against the Machine.
Yep. We would always
Killing
do
in the name of,
Candlebox.
and I'm just like, that's a visual I can't will never get the fuck out of my head. He was a great
Not
sound
very-
man and all, don't get me wrong. But I'm like, I'm going to remember this 30 years from now. And you know what? I do.
Yeah, right on. I remember, when I first started going with them, I didn't know. I mean, Ricky, he could belt out some shit, but nobody ever played Running with the Devil with him. And I said, "Do you know that?" And he goes, "Oh yeah," and he wailed on that thing. There's some cool stuff that happened,
Right.
back
Did
then.
you,
And go ahead.
go ahead. Did you ever play with the late Kurt Lynn? He was with the Playground?
I did.
Right.
Yeah, and that was at TNR's. That was at TNR's. Yeah.
Yeah, I
He's
saw
not
him
here.
a couple of times.
Shit, I didn't. He's not here anymore.
No,
I didn't know that.
I'm up to he passed on in the 2000s, if I recall
Yeah, that's
right.
what I heard something to that effect. Yeah.
I
Right.
did not know that.
Mark lost touch with a lot of us for a while.
Because the one thing, and I just remember this is when I was helping Paragon out. It was just like all the cover band musicians I bumped into, ran into, and just hanging out. It was just like they were the nicest people. It was the original band artists that kind of had a chip on their shoulder, I thought.
Well, they were out doing their own thing, and like you guys were saying, it's hard to get into places and play and get paid, and so everybody's kind of hungry and cranky. And I imagine. Does anybody?
Right.
I want to go back a little further. Yeah. Does anybody remember Art Caetano from Girl Toys at all?
I do.
That was a Bangles era. He was our singer for a while with AKA. And then, yeah, but that goes back ways. I mean, I'm just curious. We were a little bit different. We used to play Isle of Park when Steve Cooper was still with KBPI doing Hot Legs.
Yeah. God, there's a name I haven't heard
small
of.
stage, the thin stage.
Hot Legs every Thursday night, the contest. Well,
yeah. Yeah, my first wife won that contest.
Yep.
I believe that.
Yeah, I almost won it.
Laura won it.
That's right, Mark. You will
It's
jump
funny
on.
because they're all the strippers from
Yeah.
all the strippers.
Let's face it,
From
every
Chocolates and
one of
all
those
that.
hot legs.
Laura won it,
contests
and then
had
she goes,
nothing
"Oh,
to
I
do
can't
with
believe
legs.
I won." I go, "Look at you, you won." She goes, "Yeah, it's because your band's really popular." I go, "You got great legs, honey." She goes, "Yeah, but I think it was more." I'm like, "Yeah, probably."
Yeah, it usually became the hot ass or tits contest.
Yeah.
By the way, Ty, just a little relic.
Good. Oh, yep. That's the oldie.
Oh,
All right. I remember Karina going up at TNR shows, just basically just going to the crowd, want one. You did pretty well, I thought. John, you remember that?
Man, she still has all the memorabilia. I think she
Uh,
still even has the backdrop that we had too. It's packed
Mm,
away somewhere, but yeah,
Oh, we need to look
she's
into
got all the
that.
lyrics she wrote for us down to the
mm.
t-shirts to she was always behind us, man. That was cool. And she's doing well too, man.
Oh, cool. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back even further with Paragon. I remember a song, The Driver.
Yes.
Yes. Uh, I remember you played that once. I remember if I remember TNR's, then you played it at Rock and Jock when Ty Fury was your
Yeah.
second guitar
Yep.
player.
Rock and Jock. God, there's a name I haven't heard. That's like the
Yep.
Zone or
Right.
geez, man. Yeah, that's some
All
old
right.
school stuff
I
there.
barely
Rock and
remember
Jock, I
that.
thought was onto a great idea. You have a
They were.
sports bar upstairs and you have the live music downstairs.
Downstairs.
Then
Yeah.
I
Paragon
then
actually opened for Moore at Rock and Jock once.
right.
Yep.
That rolls on my
Oh,
next thing.
yeah.
Everybody could open for Wish Doctor. As a matter of fact, cover bands, can we open for you? Sure. That's
Sure.
one less set for us.
Yep.
Yep.
You know,
Good bunch of
Kind of
guys,
money.
man.
if I can interject, man, I really love that Wish Doctor album. That was an amazing album. I
Oh,
love
It
Wheatley.
absolutely.
was,
I love the
man.
whole band. And I remember Wheatley's always like going, because we got in so much with nobody in particularly Zens. Like we just had the run of the town. It was insane. And I go, hey, I need a Saturday. Well, which venue you want to do? And I go, oh, the Gothic, because whatever was going on
Right.
with the band.
I remember
And then they go,
that.
you want us to pick the bands or do you want to pick them? I'm like, oh, I'll pick them because we ran into a lot of trouble with that. But I remember
Yeah.
Wheatley with Wish Doctor, I go, dude, you want to play the Gothic with us? Or was it the Ogden? One of the two, I forget. But
Yeah.
and Matt's like, really? I go, yeah, but you got to play all your originals, no covers. He's like, fuck yeah. And to this day, he's like, man, I love that show. And it was such an amazing show. I think it was sold out pretty much.
Mhm.
But man, I love that album. That Wish
That
Doctor,
album is fucking fantastic from
it was
beginning to end.
amazing. I love that fucking album. It's so good.
It's kind of funny. Brian actually sent me a couple of recordings of stuff just to kind of play with old Witch Doctor shit. We were having some reminiscing, and
Right?
I used to always, whenever they were bringing on Cowboys from Hell, whenever that came up, Wheatley hated singing it, and if I was at the club, he's like, so I jump on stage and I do my best fill in Salmo, and because of that, and a couple of the songs that I've blown out lately, Brian's like, I'm working on an album and I need a singer. I'm like, I'm not a singer. He's like, the fuck you're not. You're doing it. Like, son of a bitch.
Guess what?
But aren't you doing that with Hell or High Water, Matt? Aren't you doing the vocals for that?
I am.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, pulling myself out of my comfort zone a little bit, but it seems to be coming together pretty well.
Right. Okay.
I
Jim
would
and
say.
I had our own podcast back in October. I've asked him this. He can interject, but this is a question for all of you. One of the reasons for this archive is that I'm trying to have this read and all of us recognized in the year 2100 through a time capsule, through the era that we were in. And I think we were the last great generation of live music before um, camera phones and social media took over our culture for better or for worse.
Oh
We
yeah.
experienced music before that.
Yep.
My question for all of you, where do you think AI and live music will exist in the year 2100? I will start with you, John.
As for me, I'm not on board with the AI stuff, but I guess if some people are cool with that, I like my artists to be real, and
Mhm.
I like the warts and the bruises and the scabs and everything that come along with it. I'll always be an analog guy if I can. Um, I don't think it's going to do anything to us. I think the human component's still going to be there.
Mhm.
Hope
All
so.
right. All right, Mr. Singer.
Oh gosh. Um, I think it's going to be. Well, here's the thing: is that obviously people like our generation, you're basically we're gonna be the ones that are gonna be policing the AI creations now.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
it's getting so out of hand already, but
Yeah.
that, and I think places like Spotify are holding it up, with they're not paying any AI created music. Now, whether how they detect that or not, that's not my realm anymore. But I think it'll still have the human touch.
Mhm. Okay. Mr. Powell.
Housefly Clawbone.
Mr. Powell, your view on how
Hey.
live music and AI will stand in the year 2100.
And that's for me. My thing went off, but I'm back on.
Okay. Anyways,
I think I mean I just feel like they were, you know, the young people trying to play out and they're trying to put out anything is just for money. But the live rock and roll, I mean, it went away for a while. I mean, as far as being the biggest thing, but I'm down for it to come back fully again with everybody singing, everybody playing real people. I think it's going to come back to that.
Okay.
In a big
All
way.
right, Matt.
Oh man.
I saved you for last for a reason.
But actually, I mean, I've listened to some music and all of a sudden I realized it was an AI band. And I was like, God damn it, that was a really good song. You know, somebody took some really good lyrics and they don't know how to play, they don't know how to produce a song, so they let AI do it and it created a fucking amazing tune. Did it piss me off? Absolutely.
To be able to copy it.
Yeah, it's one of those things, and I've already noticed that, you know, a lot of companies are cracking down on the AI bands and not releasing their shit. And I mean, I think AI has a decent purpose. I mean, Lord knows that I use it for Hell or High Waters, you know, artwork and stuff like that. And, you know, but I this is the same way I felt about a lot of the newer music. I mean, it's all computer generated, you know, whether a human's doing it or a machine is doing it, doesn't really matter. It's not fucking music.
Right.
You know, we have our instruments, we work our asses off to mildly master them. And in my case, I use that term mildly.
Right.
And you know, years of work and years of heart and years of bleeding and years of touring and years of being with three other stinky ass motherfuckers in a van promoting your shit. And I mean, that's what the rock and roll and heavy metal scene is about.
Right.
It's about working your ass off to do it. And if all of a sudden you can just push a button and you're a fucking famous non-existent band, I mean, it's criminal to those of us who are true musicians.
Right. I would say this. It's like anybody I suspect is that does music with AI, I'll just ask them what key was that in. And if they get stumped, I'd be like, okay, get the fuck out, dude. Get the fuck out. You know, but I'll also, I'll also ask this. Would it be tempting, considering, the cover band circuit, if you could have AI replace the human factor in like doing like a cover band, would that be tempting?
No, hey, let me interject real quick here, but because the AI thing is like, oh, because I've seen those and mostly hilarious. I love it up my ass girl videos because, but the guitars sound amazing. Lyrics are really weird, but I'm like, wow, it sounds so good. Oh, but it's AI. And the whole thing is people like live music. And why did people like live music? Why did people go to theater for centuries? And they still do. You go see Broadway, you go see ballet, you go to rock cover, being any band, country, whatever, because you want to see him do it live. You want to see it real. It's an actual human connection. Any asshole can go to a show and listen to a CD or oh, like we're gonna play CDs on this. But no, what people really want to do is, can you do that shit live? Can you do it for real? It's that human connection, and that's theater, and music is theater, and that will never go away because a human connection is human connection. And that's just how it is.
Absolutely.
I can pretend to be human, like Terminator, but it won't actually be human because people know it, people feel it. Because ever since albums came out, I mean, think about it. It's only been 100 years since you had a phonograph and people go listen to music. Before that, they had to go see it live. So you think, oh, the phonograph is going to take it over. The CDs is going to replace music. Oh, streaming is going to replace music. Fuck no. People go to shows because they want to have community and they want to feel it live and they want to see if you can really fucking do it. And if you can do it live, think about every show you go to. Oh, I love that band, but they suck live, and now you hate them.
Right.
We've all done it. But if you go to that show and you kind of hold up your heart going, don't let me down, don't let me down, and then they fucking kick your ass live, there you go. It's just human connection. And that will never go away. And AI will never replace that. There's a weird thing. I remember, Death Clock, because we all love Death Clock. So I go to the show and I've met Brendan Smalls in LA at the Revolver Award Show. Amazing guy, amazing musician. But I go to the show here at the Denver and like, oh, 10 o'clock live, it's gonna be great. I go, they're gonna have clocketeers running around, they're gonna do whatever. No, not really. The band playing, the
Of the characters.
tune, right? And so you go, wow, that's great that the band's playing and they're kicking ass, but what the fuck, man? It's like, okay. It was kind of weird. I wanted to see the band, not watch a cartoon on stream. You know what I mean?
I get it.
I
And
agree
they totally
completely.
lost out. They should have had clocketeers running around. They should have really played it up. Did the theater evolve? But nah.
Yeah.
I know. It's kind of like, all the bands that are wearing masks and stuff like that for the mystery and everything. Death Clock's kind of that exact same thing. But you lose a little bit of something. I mean, you can see Slipknot on stage back in the day when none of us knew what any of them looked like, and they still were on stage and they would fuck it up. And we would eat it up. And, as opposed to watching the big screen, I mean, I can go to the IMAX for that shit.
Exactly.
And I mean, as far as everything else, like the only thing digital that I do, most of my gear is still analog. I mean, but the only thing digital we do is record.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm talking to a group of people who's played out a lot, and there's one topic I said it exactly for this group, and that's the role of a sound guy. A definition of a good sound person is very
He plays
relative.
keyboards.
Right now, if Von remembers Paragon's first gig at the Isle of Park, our sound quality sound guy could not have gotten any worse than the guy we got.
Yes.
He was horrible. Everything had a squeak, this and that. And John, I wanted to ask you, being a drummer and having to deal with a mix, when did you, in your observation, did you learn to rely on a sound guy or learn how not to rely on a sound guy? Or, what was your interpretation
Matt's
of it?
pointing of himself, but as I moved on and went to several other bands, I made it my deal to sweeten up the sound guy when I'd go in. I'd buy him a double shot of Jack or something like that. It does. It helps out quite a bit, man. You make the way for the sound guy and he'll treat you good, man.
Well, and
Right.
that's it. And let me jump in on that because I ran ILIF for what, 10 years.
Mhm.
And that was the thing, is that even if the band sucked and their equipment sucked, you still tried to make, as a sound guy, I still tried to make it sound like it was a concert.
Mhm.
Because they're not gonna look at the band, they're gonna look at who's making the fuck up.
Well, the band will, the audience will, and they'll blame the band. And
All right.
it's kind of both.
I want to add to that just for
It's
a
kind of
second.
both, I
I'm
think.
going to stroke Dan just a little bit as well because Jesus Christ, you made me sound good. But I mean, Ty is absolutely right. The first show we did at ILIF, it was a blast. The crowd loved us, but it sounded like it was being shot through a tin can. It was just horrible.
Transistor radio.
And then
Mhm.
other shows we did where the sound guy really knew what they were fucking doing. And then after that chapter ended and I joined Silencer, we did our show at the Isle Park Saloon.
Yep.
And it was with Rogue.
Yep.
And the place was fucking packed.
Mhm.
And Dan made us sound absolutely amazing. Not that Silencer wasn't amazing sounding anyway. I mean, we were definitely a very tight band. But I mean, the quality of it coming out of those speakers, everybody was ecstatic about how it sounded at the end of the show. So I mean, yeah, it definitely matters. And don't
Right.
My favorite was the golden gig that we did up for the Battle of the Bands. Everybody came out, watched us jam, out on their front porches, and then after we were done, they all went back inside. And nobody else watched the other bands. Yeah, it was killer, man. We got to use Big Head Todd and the Monsters equipment.
Mhm.
Right.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. I've got one final topic for everybody. Who is the one musician in the Denver scene that you really liked, you really enjoyed, but you never got to play with, and you wish you had at least gotten the opportunity to? Dan Singer, we'll start with you.
You know, I don't know. I really can't name anyone because I mean, I got to work with a lot.
Hmm.
I think almost
Right.
every band in Denver came through Iliff or, what was the Hubbas, you know, especially when they were doing all original. Because they're from
Hmm.
Troy and Colleen owned it. It was an all original bar.
Hmm.
So I would have 4 or 5 bands a night, 5 nights a week. I
Right.
can't I can't think of a single musician that I didn't get to work with.
Hmm. Mr. Powell.
That's a tough one. The only thing I could think at this point is way back before I was with the first band I was with. I know I mentioned AKA, that goes way back, but Jack was their original guitarist. Jack plays with Forgive Me. Maybe you guys know. I never knew him that well. They played on in Parker a lot. They play kind of in the thing with I can't. Is it Guild of Ages or is that Danny?
Guild of Ages is Danny.
Who's it? Jack's the other. They played. Anyway, I knew him from years ago now, and I never got to jam with him, but he was always really good back then. Then he went on to play when they were. He was the other guy in 311 when that was Danny and those
Yeah.
guys.
Oh yeah, Jack Cavender. I know exactly.
Yeah, I couldn't think of his last name, but
Yep.
yeah, I like Jack was a good dude.
Jack is an amazing person.
Yeah, he moved to Florida. He lives in Florida.
Yeah, he's down in Florida now.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I have been on. Yeah, I didn't know, but anyway, there's probably a lot of others though. I mean, I'd like to just see if whoever wants to play at times. So, whatever. But yeah, that's back then.
How about you, John?
Oh man, if I had to put any band that I wished I could have joined up with, sound wise, it would have been Leviathan, man, when they were doing
Wow. I
the
remember that.
the Bengals days, man. They just dropped a new album a couple of days ago, and their singer absolutely sucks. I don't know what the hell happened to him, but yeah, I'm not too happy with it. But that was a cool band. But I was more of I hated looking through classifieds because I didn't want to join somebody else's band. I wanted to start a new thing, But
Right.
Leviathan, those guys, they had a cool sound, man, with Beast of Burden and the Green Album and all that stuff. I really dug that progressive style.
Matt, did you ever get pursued to join Wish Doctor? I'm just curious because you spent so much time with them.
Fucking hilarious. That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
After Alex passed, I was talking to Matt and Brian for a little while, and we were kind of juggling the idea because I offered my assistance to replace him. And at the end of the day, I think it would have been a blast, but Matt made a very solid point, and he's like, dude, you're a fucking thrash player. At the time, yeah, I totally was. And it probably would have added a crunch that just wouldn't have done Wish Doctor the justice. But I mean, back in the day, Brian was no longer in this group, unfortunately, to hear this, but I guess you'll see it later. Brian was the guitar player that I looked up to when I was just coming into the scene. I first moved to Denver in 94, 95. And first band I saw was Wish Doctor, and I was immediately in love with them. And Brian's playing blew my fucking mind. I was just like, God damn, I'd love to play with that dude. The cool thing is now in little small increments, him and I are actually doing that. So I guess dream come true.
Yeah. Okay. One final point I want to make, and I'll hear what everyone's at. And I remember in the 90s, I wanted to be Sam Malone from Cheers. That was my ambition.
That's how I know.
I got a job at I got a job at this new joint called the Supreme Court Cafe at the 16th Street Mall in Denver, and I got to be Sam Malone. I'm like, okay, I'm now a bartender. What the fuck is next? Then I meet Spargo. Then I meet Warboys and Bolton. And I want to thank John and Matt for the time you guys spent with me because I had no rudder. I had no direction in life. And I just realized because I had played bass guitar in the late 80s, not very well and very poorly and without lessons. And after our time together, I'm like, it's time to play again. Paragon was a proponent in giving me direction. And for that, the time we spent, I want to thank you for it.
You know,
I cannot count
Yeah.
how many times I got drunk at the Supreme Court with Ty serving me fucking booze.
Totally. Oh yeah. That's the only lawyers here.
my motto is avoid hangovers, stay drunk.
Oh God.
Well, is there any other way to look at it?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't drink.
Yeah.
All
You're
right.
staying dry. All right. Has anyone got anything else? Any final words? Anything? Anything that they want to tell anyone
It's
that
so
could be
funny
heard in the
because
year
this came up.
2100?
Speaking of Mr. Danny, I remember when George was leaving because he got married, he's moving to Vegas.
Oh God.
He handpicked you, and you were so excited that you got so wasted that you passed out in the booth at Island Park Saloon.
Nope.
And then you're like, "Oh fuck, I totally screwed it up. I'm so sorry." I'm like, "No, that means you're perfect for us."
I have a picture from that night. I'll have to dig
Ah, that was
it.
you were so scared. I fucked it all
Well,
up.
I remember calling Danny the next day, and all of us were hungover. We were supposed to rehearse on we were going to do the audition on a Saturday, and I'm like, dude, I'm too fucking hungover. He's like, it's okay, we're doing it Sunday.
Oh, dude, it was hilarious. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And you saved us in the middle of Utah with your cell phone. Nobody had a goddamn cell phone.
No cell phones. It was just a
Oh.
laptop.
Yep, I know.
Laptop, get us out of
It's
here.
so funny you say that because I was talking to people down here and their friends and go, so we had Danny, and neither one of you wanted to be Daniel or Dan. You both had to be Danny. And like, well, it's going to be really confusing. He got on the bus, you whip out that laptop because nobody had a laptop in 1997. Like, laptop. And you're so mad about it to this day.
Oh yeah, we hit that parade in some podunk town in Utah.
Yeah, because
And that's when Jim turned and he just looked at me, he goes, laptop, get us out of here. He was actually talking to the computer, but the name just stuck.
He just stuck. And I'm like, oh no. And Mary go, God, I hate that nickname. I go, well, could be worse. Could have been lap dance. And you're like,
right. God, Eric peeing in the radiator.
Oh my God. Oh, that was me peeing in the radiator.
Oh yeah. Well,
Whipping.
yep.
Oh,
You took a piss in the radiator, Jim?
Oh my goodness.
no, we had our bus that broke down. It was like a diesel.
Yeah. Nobody told us to put kerosene in.
Blizzard, because we played Utah with Piston. We're driving back, and then halfway, Wamp some weird ass name.
Wamsetter.
Yes, that's it. Anyway, the bus broke down in this enormous blizzard, and we looked down, and the radiator fluid is all pouring out. Like, well, we need more water. Well, we don't got water. Well, let's all piss in the freaking radiator, and the wind's a whipping. We're standing in front of that.
Oh my God.
That's not a visual I care for.
Your father-in-law, or who?
Yeah, it was Stephanie's father.
Yes, that's what it was.
Came with a flatbed trailer, towed us all the way back down from Wyoming into Denver, and then we dropped the bus off, and we were going back to my house with my very pregnant, girlfriend at the time, and he's turning with this empty, long ass flatbed trailer, and some guy was timing a light, and bam, that trailer went right through one of my neighbor's fences. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, that was insane. The whole thing.
Great.
That was a crazy night. The guitarist from Piston wanted to join us.
Oh yeah. Remember we took him on the bus. So we got on the bus. We had this whole thing where we are like bored. So we every time we pulled into a gas station, we'd buy like porn mags, and then we'd vote on which porn things we'd put up, like Playboy, thing, and we'd
Yep.
pasting them up onto the bus, and the whole bus is like this massive porn thing. And then we were at the hotel, and the drummer was actually the drummer from Typo Negative, and he was filling in because Pistons drummer got leukemia.
Yeah.
So he was filling in for him, and he was about to get married 2 weeks later. And we're sitting in the hotel room, and we get this call from their pissed off manager going, "Hey, you guys need to strike all this shit," because we had set up all of our stuff. And he goes, "Because he's like, you local fucks, fuck you, you're opening for us." We're like, and I remember I'm on the phone going, "We're not local, we're on tour too, dude." And he's like, "Oh," and his tone changed like that. "Oh, we're from Denver." He's like, "Oh shit, okay." And then we went back to the venue. I forgot the name of it, but I remember the address, 666 Avenue. I'll never forget that. I'm like, it's so perfect.
Hmm.
Because we opened, then Piston played after us, and they were really mad at us because it was like a husband wife team, the singer and the bass player.
I think so.
Yeah, and they were really pissed at us because everybody really loved us and really didn't like them. And they're so mad at us. And we're just trying to be sweet because I thought they were great. I'm like, oh, this is a really great show. And they're like, oh, no. But that was so much fun. But yeah, we went to the titty bar. And I remember BJ was our road manager at the time, Dan's cousin. And we're all dressed in leather and makeup. And we showed up at this titty bar. And the guy from the guitar player went with us because we tried to get the drummer from Typo Negative to come with us. He goes, "I'm getting married in 2 weeks, dude. I can't go to a titty bar with you guys." We're like, "All right." And then
Mm.
we went, and BJ was like going, "Hey, so because if you know, alcohol and titty bars in Utah are bizarre. It's so bizarre. It's like a different, it's like Mars. It's so weird."
You bring your own booze to it.
Bring your own booze.
No, actually, no.
Panties.
Go ahead, Denny. Go ahead, Denny.
Yeah, I remember the pasties and panties at the strip.
Yes. It was so weird. But so we sit there. So here's it. Usually a titty bar, you're right on the stage and you put your money in, and girl song and blah. Not Utah. For number one, you got to be sponsored to go into a 21, an alcohol bar. And so there's this literally an 80-year-old lady going, it signs a little card that she sponsors you to go in the bar. And we're like, okay, that's weird. And then they shuffle us to the backstage, and they can't take their clothes off on stage. So this girl comes out, she's dancing around in, like skimpy clothes. And then she goes back behind a fucking curtain for the second song. And then she comes out, she's got like a thong and pasties on. And you're literally 5 feet away from him. There's like a railing, and you put your money on the railing, right? And this chick was like totally intrigued because we're all dressed up. And the guitar player from Piston's like going, oh, she comes up, she goes, so what band are you guys? And he goes, we're Megadeth. She's like, oh my God, that's amazing. Later on, she came out and sat on that guy's lap, and I think she got fired because the bouncers were like, oh, you can't touch anybody because she sat on his lap.
Yep.
Oh,
that was a crazy night.
it was an insane night. It was so much fun, though. But it's such a good time, except for the breaking down in the middle of a blizzard on the way back.
Yeah.
Can we all agree? Just hanging out with Jim Moore or playing with Jim Moore was nothing short of fun.
There was never a dull moment.
Never. Never.
I am
Never,
an arbiter
ever.
of craziness, that's for sure.
All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and